You have hit the button. Fantastic. Okay, looks good. Hi everybody, welcome back to our weekly live stream. My name is Alicia and today we're going to talk about how to imagine your future. That means like how to make predictions about the future. So we're going to use, for example, will and going to, and we're going to talk about a sentence pattern that uses would a lot. A lot of you have asked questions about how to use the word would. So I'm going to focus on a statement pattern you can use. So that means not a question, a statement pattern that you can use. And I'm going to introduce a question pattern that I hope you can use to make your own questions to ask about potential futures. So lots to do, lots to do. So as you join, please don't forget to hit the like button. Please don't forget to hit the like button. And of course, share the video too. We really appreciate it. We're getting everything ready now. It looks like Facebook is up. Hi, Facebook. Facebook is ready. And I think we'll see YouTube in just a moment as well. Okay. So as you are joining up, please send something in the chat so we know that you're there. And we'll begin in about maybe 1 to 2 more minutes. So again, the topic for today, how to imagine the future, how to imagine the future. So I'll introduce a couple of things that you guys have been asking us about actually, so lots to do. Okie dokie. But quick announcement, I guess, at the beginning of this week's lesson, as always, if you have not seen it yet, I posted about it on Twitter, but if you have not seen it yet, we have a new series up on the YouTube channel and it's up on the website too. So we started working on this series maybe last December or so. Yeah, this is it, new series. So the title of the new series is Know Your Verbs, Know Your Verbs. So this is a new series where we focus on one verb that maybe you know the basic meaning of, but then our team put together videos where we introduce different meanings for the verb and we talk about example sentences, and we're also introducing like phrasal verbs and idioms that use that word. So if you have not seen the first episode is about the verb see, please check it out on YouTube. It's up there and it's on the website. So if you have an account on the website, please check out the first episode of Know Your Verbs. The team worked really hard on this and the guy behind the control desk today made the template. Thank you so much for the series. So please do check that out. We're excited and we have a lot of those actually coming up too. So that's a big announcement for today. All right, but I don't see YouTube yet. Is it okay to start? I think I'm just gonna go ahead unless there's something else. So, okay. Oh, hi YouTube. Good. All right. Fantastic. Great. Everybody's there. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. All right. So then let's begin with today's topic. Let's start today's topic. As I said, how to talk about the future. Fantastic. So today's lesson, as always, I have 3 parts for today's lesson. Today, the first thing, I'm going to talk about this part right here, this kind of basic pattern. And I think you'll see in just a second as well, like my tweet is here at the moment, but I want to focus a little bit on the board now. This is going to be the first part for today. Oh, actually, yeah, it's already up here. That was fast. Okay, that's okay. This is our first part for today. So the first thing I want to talk about today is using this expression, this kind of sentence pattern, to make a statement about an unreal situation. An unreal situation means a statement that is not real right now. That's what it means. So this is where we're going to start. After that, we'll talk about how to make questions with would. And then in the last part of today's lesson, we'll review how to use will and going to. So let us begin. Great. Hi, YouTube. Rich and Sandro and Edward and Fun Entertainment and Ali. Hi, everybody. Good. Everybody's here. All right. Let's begin then. Let's begin. And Instagram, you're there too, I think. Okay. There's so many cameras in the room today. So let's begin then with the first point for today. So I said the first thing for today would be this basic pattern here. I know it's sometimes difficult to see the board. So this above me, above my head, this is the same thing and an example sentence. So I'll talk about this in just a moment. Yeah, so some people are saying how to use would and could in the future. Today we're going to talk about one way to use would to make guesses. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is this sentence on top here. This sentence, if I plus past tense verb phrase, something, something, I would. So this is a common expression, a common pattern that we use when we want to express an unreal situation, something that is not true now. So this is an example of an unreal situation. Here is my if clause. In this case, if I had a lot of money, I would buy my parents a house. If I had a lot of money, I would buy my parents a house. So here, had a lot of money. This is my past tense verb phrase right here. Had a lot of money. And then I finish with like a main statement. I would buy my parents a house. So we use would in these cases because we're talking about something that's not real. It's not a real situation now. This part here reflects right now. At this point in time, I don't have a lot of money. But if I did, this would be my plan. So I don't use will here. I don't use will here because this is not true right now. So please be careful. This is an unreal situation. So when you make this sentence, you can see, like I mentioned, use a past tense verb phrase here. However, if your verb is, like I just said, in my sentence pattern, but if I want to use the verb is, and I want to use past tense, there's an exception. For the verb is, we use were, like if I were rich, for example. So please be careful. When you use the word is, when you want to conjugate that, for this verb pattern, use were. I'm not going to talk about the use of was today. That's a kind of a different point, and it'll take time, I think. So today we'll use were. This is a key exception. This is something different. We're not going to talk about in detail for today. But please use were if you're using the verb is. So if you like, oh, great. A lot of you are sending example sentences. Fantastic. If you're watching in YouTube or Facebook, check the chat. There are some good example sentences. Like, if I won the lottery, I would invite you to Bora Bora. If I had wings, I would fly to everywhere. Nice one, Junior. Hey, Junior. Katsukichi, if I could speak English fluently, I would travel all over the world. Very nice, very nice. So these are great example sentences. Nice one. On Facebook, I don't see any yet. But yes, if you want to send an example sentence, please feel free to do so. Okay, so I want to move on then. Like in my example sentence, I've introduced if I, like here I have if I, and in this pattern up here, I have if I did something. However, we can change this. This does not have to be I. We could say if he, if you, if they, if we, whatever. You can change this. Here, I'll mark it in a different color because we have the technology. So if we can change this and we can change this. So you can talk about your behavior. You can talk about your reaction to someone's behavior. You can change these to make some other examples. So let's go. I have one more example, which we will see up here in just a moment. Yeah, that one. Great, thank you. So here is a different one. So I've updated this part. This part. If person or object. So I replace this I. We can change this I with a person or an object here. So past tense verb phrase, this part is the same. And the last part, the main part, is the same too. I would. So here's an example. If the CEO, so a different person, not me, if the CEO were discovered to be a criminal, I would quit the company. So what does this mean? This sentence means now the CEO is not a criminal. I hope. But I mean, the CEO of this fictional company, the CEO is not a criminal. But if he or she were discovered to be a criminal, this is my plan. I would quit the company. So again, this part shows us this is not a real situation. This is not a real situation. But if it were, this is what I would do. So we can change this part of the sentence. If the CEO were discovered to be a criminal, I would quit the company. So in this case, these are two different people, CEO and me. They can be whatever your situation needs. So please feel free to be flexible with this. Okay, so I want to practice this. I made a small quiz with this part with you guys. So I want to look at this example. If we look at this example though, where we have I in this position, and we need a past tense verb phrase right here. What do we use? We talked about it earlier. Send it in the chat. What do you think the answer? If I, blah, 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 I would. So let's imagine we're going to use the verb is here. If I want to use the verb is. Video froze. Oh no, someone said the video froze. Anyway, the correct answer for here, if I were, if we want to use an adjective, we need to use were if we're going to use the verb is. Otherwise, we just use any other past tense verb. So this is a key point for today. I notice many people use present tense here, but don't do that. Please use past tense. And as we talked about, the exception is if you're using the verb is. Please use were instead. Alrighty, let's look at another one. So let's, again, the same issue, same past tense sort of issue here. If he, so again, my subject here, if he have or had, he would, blah, 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 something else over here. So again, we have a choice between present tense and past tense here. Many students choose this one. It's actually past tense. We need to use past tense. If he had gotten up earlier, he would have been on time for work, for example. So please use past tense. Same thing here, but I've changed it to we at the beginning. So if we go or went, we would something, something. So again, past tense. So we need to use a past tense verb with this expression. So this is one key point for today. Please use past tense. I know it seems strange, like you're talking about an unreal future situation, but we use this grammar to make that statement. So please use this one. Please use past tense verbs in this if clause, here. So this starts with if. We call this the if clause. I'll talk more about this point later. Okay. Good. So that's the first part for today. Next, we're going to talk about questions. But before that, a quick break. All right. So let's take a look. As always, we have free stuff for you guys. Last week, I talked about business English stuff. But for today, because we're imagining the future, maybe some of you in the chat are talking about this, like your travels. So if you travel, or if you're imagining your travels to the future, how might you talk about this? Like someone in the chat, I saw it before, you said, if I traveled to the USA, I would be fluent in English, for example. So if you are thinking about traveling, in this case, to the USA or to a different country, please check out this PDF cheat sheet. It's for free. You can find the link below the video on YouTube and above the video on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram. I don't know about you, but so please check this out. This is good if you are imagining travel. So this is free. You can find this on the website at EnglishClass101.com. Yeah, there's a big list of them there. So these are all the PDF cheat sheets that we have for free. So please check that out. Other things you might think about, maybe food, cooking, music, dining, all kinds of stuff to think about. So we have a lot. I can't even choose right now, but these are great vocabulary builders. So if you know your vocabulary is missing some points, please check these out. They're free. You can download all of them. All right. Good. Anyway, break's over. Let's get back to it. So, welcome. If you're just joining, today's topic is how to imagine the future. So, in the first part of today's lesson, we talked about using would. This if I were, I would type pattern with past tense verb phrases. This was the first part. We talked about how to make a statement with this grammar. So now I want to move on how to make a question. I've noticed if you can get this part, I've noticed sometimes students are okay with this part, but they can't make a question using this grammar. So I really want to practice this one next. Let's continue. Alrighty, so I talked in this part about this if clause, yeah? Maybe you can see it on the screen. This if part, if clause, it starts with the word if. That's a great hint that it's the if clause. So when you make a question then, you need to have this if clause in your question and your main clause, which is this part, this I would part, for this grammar, for this point. So to make your if clause, a simple pattern you can use, like we said, if, we'll start with if, that's pretty good. We'll start with if, and then choose your person. So in this case, when we were making sentences, statements, we used I, or we used he, or we, or the CEO in the other example we talked about. So choose the person, or maybe a situation, the object. So choose the thing you want to discuss. What are you talking about? So if person, then same thing in your question, your past tense verb phrase. Your past tense verb phrase. Past tense verb phrase. Past tense. Don't forget to change your verb to past tense, please. So this is your if clause. This is part one. Phase one of your question. So it's part one. Part two then is your question clause. So this is where you ask the question. This part, part two, is the part where you put the question. So how do you make the question? This part is maybe the most difficult part. To do that, here I'm going to write a WH question. So WH question means like your who, what, when, where, why, how long, how often, that question word. So that means that's WH question. I'm not going to write everything here. So add your question phrase. What is your question? So what's the question you want to ask? Then include would. Would shows this is not a real situation. This is a reminder. Like, this is not true now, but let's just discuss the possibility. So what would, and then again, another person or something else related to the situation. It does not have to match this first one. You don't need to match this one here. These do not have to be the same. You can change it. Then we'll finish with some verb expression, perhaps something else at the end. So this is a very, very open sort of pattern that you can use. So I know it's quite difficult to imagine, like what is this? How should I use this? So I prepared some examples. I have 3 examples. Where should we put those? The bottom of the frame is good. Or we can show them one at a time if that's too much. Anyway, we have 3 examples coming in just a second. So let's take a look at like how to actually put these into a real sentence. So yeah, okay, that looks good to me. I'll stand up. It's fine. Oh, that's nice too. Perfect. Okay, sorry. We're arranging the text on the screen right now so you can see. Perfect. Okay, so here's one example. These are all questions, not statements, but these are questions. So first one, if you were, remember we talked about this, were is the exception. When you use the verb is, you need to change it to were, not was. So if you were a teacher, what subject would you teach? So this question follows this pattern I introduced right here. So if you, here's my person, past tense verb phrase, were a teacher, were a teacher. And then my question phrase, like I talked about here, question phrase, what subject? That's my question. What subject? What subject? And then unreal. It's unreal, so I use would. And then here's my person again. I'm talking about you. My question is about you in this case. What would you teach? So here's one example. I've just plugged in each of these parts of the sentence here. Let's look at one more. It's kind of hard to see around my shirt, isn't it? Sorry. I guess okay, I won't move. I get in trouble when I move. I fall down. If this were your house, where would you put the furniture? So here, this is a great example where I've changed. So this part, I said person, but this can be an object. So in this case, house. So if this were your house, where would you put the furniture? Another example here. And then one more, if they built a pool, how often would you go swimming in it? All right, I want to focus on one point in this example sentence. How often? How often would you go swimming in it? Please make sure your how often and your how long fit together. Sometimes students separate them, like how would you go swimming often or something, I don't know. But don't separate those. Keep how long and how often together. Keep those question phrases together then. Yes. Good, some of you are answering this. Someone on YouTube wrote, what would you do if you were Donald Trump? I don't know. Okay, great. So these are a few examples of questions we can make building or using this pattern. We've built these questions using this pattern right here. So this is a great way if you're not sure how to start making questions, you can use this pattern. Good, good, good. All right, so let's have a quiz. So, let's see. Again, we need to use past tense here. So a quick review for your if clause. If he made or he make. Remember, we need to use a past tense verb in the if clause. So we need to use made. If he made. So in your if clause, you need to use that past tense verb for sure. Okay, but now let's ask a question, a quick review question about the main clause. So if you had, so here's our if clause. We have something in our if clause, blah, blah, blah. But in your main clause, how would you often? Or how often would you? Which one is correct? Well, you can send it in the chat, but we don't have time. So, how often would you? This bottom one is correct. So I know that the question how is here, but how often is the question phrase. We need to keep those two words together. Don't split your how often or your how longs. Keep those two together, please. All right, good. Phew, we're running out of time. So I'll finish there for that point. Great. Nice job with your example sentences, guys. Brian on YouTube says, Alicia, can I use could instead of would? Not necessarily, no. I can't talk about could in this lesson. There's not enough time. But no, could and would, while sometimes they can be used to make grammatically correct sentences, they change the meaning. Using could changes the meaning. And there are some different ways to use could. So I can't talk about it now. We don't have time. But I think, actually, I made a whiteboard video about that point. So you can check that on the channel sometime soon. Okay. Then, we're running out of time. But I guess we'll take a quick break. It's because I would like to take a break. So really quickly, if you missed it before, as always, this week, we have free stuff for you guys. I have a huge pile of free PDFs. I could not choose for this week because this is about imagining your future. And we imagine the future about so many different topics here. So earlier I mentioned like travel. Travel could be a really good topic. Some good vocabulary words to think about. Other ones, we have one for pets. That could be really good. If you bought a dog, what kind of dog would you buy, for example? So there are some pets. Oh my gosh, actually, there are like names of dogs back here too. You can check this out, like to find the names of your favorite dogs. That's cute. I haven't seen that before. And cats too, if you're a cat person as well. I don't know. I'm more of a dog person. I'm allergic to cats. Okay. All right, so please check these out. These are on EnglishClass101.com. The link is below the video on YouTube. Check below the video, the link. And above the video on Facebook and Twitter and Twitch. Alrighty. So go download those. There's like 13 of them, I think. Yeah, you can see them now. It's a lot. Fantastic. Okie dokie. Let's go on to the last point for today. So we talked about this kind of if clause, main clause, some review. And remember, you can switch that too. You don't have to use if clause first, main clause second. You can swap them. That's fine. We're going to talk about will and going to at the end of today's lesson. Some review. Oh yes, don't forget to like the video if you haven't already. It helps other people find it actually. So if you want to help us, just hit the like button. This break is proudly sponsored by Sing. I don't know if I can say that. That's funny though. Okay. Marcelino, I cannot put the link in the chat. I am not in control. The link should be right below the video on YouTube in the description if you're watching on YouTube. Okay, so let's finish today with a review point about two expressions or two grammar points that are for making predictions about the future. They are will and going to. Will and going to. So this is not a review about your future plans, but this is a review for your guesses, your ideas about the future. When should we use these? So we tend to use will for like prediction. Here's a keyword. Prediction. Prediction means guess. Prediction, to make a prediction, like some idea about the future. Oh, yes, here it is. This is what I'm writing on the board. Predictions far in the future. Far in the future. So things we can't see. Things we can't see or we're not so sure. So this is my example sentence with will. In the future, we'll have flying cars. Here I have the reduced form. Will is we will. In the future, we will have flying cars. We will. Here's a negative then. We won't have clean water if we don't protect the environment. So these two sentences use will and won't to make a prediction, to make a guess about the future. So we use these, as I said, far in the future. Far in the future means a long, long time in the future. And we use these for things maybe it's hard to guess, we're not sure, maybe we don't have all the information or a lot of information. So you can use will and the negative won't, will not, in these cases. However, going to is a little bit different. So going to, we use these for like easy predictions. So things we can see. Things we can see. So like, for example, if you're watching like a soccer game or something and you can see the player moving towards the ball and you can guess what he's going to do or she's going to do, you can say, he's going to shoot a goal or something. I don't know. Like you can use going to for things that are easy to see, easy to predict. We can guess that, like based on the information we have, we can make a strong guess about that. Like weather also, it's gonna rain. I think it's gonna rain. Yeah, so we use going to, it's like really, really strong, close future maybe, or we're very confident about the prediction. So examples here. The company is gonna, so this is going to in the reduced form. The company is gonna grow a lot next year. So maybe I have a lot of confidence about this idea. Like, the company is going to grow a lot next year. Maybe I have a lot of information. I can make this prediction with confidence. Another one, the president is going to make a huge mistake. The president is going to make a huge mistake. So here, I'm very confident here. Is going to make a huge mistake. So I can see based on the information I have, and I can make a strong prediction. Yeah, nice. Good work, you guys. So you're sending some predictions in the chat. I'll be having lunch around noon. That's maybe not a prediction. That's just a statement of fact. So if you have some predictions, you can send a prediction for the month of June if you like. Yeah, what are you going to do in June? What do you think might happen in June? That's a question. But anyway, that's a good point to finish on today's lesson. So will and going to, we can use to make a prediction, to make a guess about the future. One is strong, one not so strong, to put it quite simply. All right, but it is 30 minutes past the hour, which means I need to finish up. So we'll finish up for that with that for today. Thank you very much for joining us as always. So you know, we will be back. We're going to be here again next week, of course. Next week's topic, though, is something I'm excited about. Next week, we'll be back Wednesday, June 6th at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our topic will be slang and idioms, food and eating related slang and idioms. So these are expressions you can use when you go out to like eat with your friends, when you're cooking at home, when you're just eating in general. But I want to introduce some vocabulary that's a little bit more casual, more commonly used among friends and so on. So please join us for this one next week, next week, June 6th, Wednesday, June 6th. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is New York City time. If you don't know your time, your country's or your city's time, please just Google it. On the Facebook chat. And yes, we do have a YouTube channel. If you're watching on Facebook and you don't know our YouTube channel, please check us out at English Class 101, English Class 101 on YouTube. You can find us there. If you're watching on YouTube and you want to check our Facebook page has lots of like little updates all throughout the week. You can find us at English Class 101 as well. So find us everywhere, all over the internet. All right, but next week, definitely, please join us for our next live stream. If you want a reminder, you can get a reminder on the event schedule page on Facebook, or you can set a notification on the YouTube channel. So we have lots of ways to remember the live stream. Okay, I will finish up there for today. Don't forget to go download this stuff right here. All of this is free. So please take a look. The link is below the video on YouTube and above the video on Facebook and Twitter, Twitch, everything else. So I'll finish there. Thank you as always for sending your great example sentences. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for liking the video too. Actually, it really helps us a lot. And don't forget to check out the new Know Your Verb series that's up on the channel. The team worked really hard to put that together. So enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your night. Have a good week. Have a good weekend. And I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.